tonight on the Final Play.
Rankins rips the ball out.
It's all hands on deck as the Saints send the Steelers home and secure home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs.
You try to do the unexpected, right? So that's part of this game.
We got extensive reaction from the team and analysis from Deuce McAllister. Plus, the second year of early signings brings another heavy dose of local high schoolers staying in state. We'll recap the recruiting classes and check in on the Pelicans as they continue their road trip.
From Fox 8 Sports, this is The Final Play, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough, and Nissan.
Welcome into the Final Play. I'm Juan Kincaid, and when you've got your eyes fixed on the ultimate prize, speed bumps are expected along the way. The Saints overcame a major one today in beating the Pittsburgh Steelers, giving them a sweep of the AFC North for the first time ever under head coach Sean Payton. Sean Vazan gets a starter tonight.
It was the type of game you would expect from two of the NFL's most elite teams. The Saints and Steelers battled for 60 minutes inside the Superdome on Sunday. But in the end, it was the Saints on top 31-28 to win the game and clinch the #1 seed in the NFC.
Shoot, an exciting win against a good team, real good team. Game went back and forth. We expected it to be something that was hard fought, that went into the fourth quarter.
And each quarter had its own storyline. In the first, the Saints shot themselves in the foot early when Taysom Hill was picked off on a deep pass to Ted Ginn Jr., killing early momentum. But they battled back on their next drive. After a questionable pass interference penalty on 4th down placed the ball at the 1-yard line, Mark Ingram punched it in to give the Saints an early 7-3 lead and put him in the Saints record books as the all-time leader in touchdowns.
Man, it's a blessing. Just, thank the Lord for putting me in this position. Record holder. You coming to get it, so it won't make it long, you know what I mean?
In the second quarter, both offenses settled in. Alvin Kamara started things off with a tough inside run from 8 yards out. Then, both teams handled their final drives of the half masterfully. The Steelers went 97 yards on 15 plays and ate up 6 minutes of clock, culminating with Ben Roethlisberger's pass to Jalen Samuels for a 3-yard touchdown. But the Saints squeezed out 3 more just before the gun to go into the locker room up 17-14. The third quarter belonged to the Steelers, specifically Antonio Brown. After a quick Kamara score that put the Saints up 10, Brown took over and scored back-to-back touchdowns. One from 3 yards out, the other from 20 yards out, where he left Marshawn Lattimore and Kurt Coleman in the dust to go up 28-24. The fourth quarter was a quarter full of big plays or big mistakes, depending on how you look at it. The first came when Stephen Ridley fumbled deep into Saints territory. Alex Okafor recovered. The play was reviewed and upheld. The Saints provided the next gaffe when Pittsburgh bulled through to block Will Lutz's 50-yard field goal attempt. But special teams would pop up again on the very next drive. This time the Saints would benefit. And facing a 4th and 5, Mike Tomlin and the Steelers called for a fake punt. Roosevelt Nix got close until Craig Robertson and Chris Banjo stopped him a half-yard short.
It was a big play. It was close. Gutsy on their part. When the one guy goes in motion, you start looking, and I had an angle where, but it's the second time this year, in big games against the Rams also.
Still, even with prime field position, it was a battle for the offense. Facing a 3rd and 20 from the Steelers' 32, Drew Brees turned to Ted Ginn Jr., who came up big with a 25-yard pickup. 2 plays later, Brees found Michael Thomas for the touchdown.
So actually a play call that Sean P said earlier in the week. He wanted me on because, I made that play against him before on the opposite side, on the opposite team. So he called that up, he dialed that up, and, man, I just made it work.
But even that wasn't enough. The defense still needed to come up one more time. And Sheldon Rankins made it happen when he stripped Juju Smith-Schuster to force the fumble to secure the win and the #1 seed in the playoffs.
It's hard to secure the 1 seed, but knowing that we've done it, knowing that, the road comes through New Orleans, it gives us a lot of confidence. Obviously, we love playing in the Dome. We love playing in front of the Who Dat Nation. Obviously, they make this a very tough place for somebody to come in and play.
We now welcome in former Saints running back, Saints Hall of Famer. Deuce McAllister did the color analyst for the game, the radio call today. Deuce, as I sit here now and kind of take that game in, those are two elite Super Bowl contenders, and they played that way. That was a good football game we watched today.
That was a good football game. You knew for the Saints some adversity would hit at some point. It was not going to be an easy game, and it did. But they had the wherewithal to be able to bounce back and, just to be able to counter it and say, we're going to make a play. And Sheldon Rankins made a play. It was interesting because hadn't had a lot of success in that drop eight look. I mean, because Ben was able, it was almost like playground at one point where he would be able to break the containment, and then he was just telling guys to go.
Right.
I mean, and it's you just get open, I'll find you sort of situation. And so one of the biggest moments when they need it, it's a slant route to Juju Smith, and he catches it, but Sheldon's able to punch it out.
That was a great play by a guy that probably doesn't have a whole lot of practice in that sort of scenario in terms of just punching the ball out of a receiver's hands downfield. It really was a great play and obviously iced the win for the Saints. Ton of big plays in this one. The one that jumps out to me, though, was Mike Tomlin calling for the fake punt. I was shocked they did it. And, credit Craig Robertson. He was there to make the stop. It was 4th and I believe 6. They stopped at 5.5. Huge momentum swing in that game. I don't know if the Saints go the entire field, but we'll never know. But still, what did you think of that call?
You felt like Mike said, hey, look, my defense is not going to stop him, so I'm going to go ahead and let my offense ice it. Craig Robertson and Chris Banjo made the play.
Yeah.
But you know who made the initial stop and tackle? David Onyemata.
David
Onyemata, he sees it.
Yeah.
And the guy that was faking it was about 245.
It's the fullback, right?
The fullback.
Yeah.
If David Onyemata isn't there to anchor down, it's not 5.5. He probably gets 6 yards, but he was able to hold on just enough. That was basically Mike Tomlin said, hey, look, I don't know if my defense can stop him at this moment. We're going to go ahead and get it. Came up short.
Second time this season a team has tried that. Second time Craig Robertson was there to make the stop. That's why he's here. I mean, he is a special teams guy. He always shows up at the right moment. The other play, 3rd and 20. 3rd and 20, you kind of run the clear out with the all-go, and then you drag Ted Ginn underneath. He makes the play. Welcome back, Ted Ginn Jr.
Welcome back, Ted Ginn. It was his speed. It was his ability to be able to run some different routes. And you saw those secondaries, they respected his speed as well. Saints tried to go deep with him with the post, the interception, that's Taysom Hill. But his ability to be able to run the deep out, to be able to run the digs, to be able to run the go routes, that's going to help this team, and it definitely helped them today.
No, look, it got a little scary at times because the Steelers were really rolling, and they're a great team with a lot of talent. And to me, their best player wears number 84, Antonio Brown, especially on that touchdown pass, that touchdown that he caught. You said it wasn't just Lattimore. Coleman had made a mistake as well.
Well, Coleman's too tight. I mean, he's trying to play cover 2. If you go back and look at it, Lattimore's playing outside. He is funneling that inside where he knows he's got help. Problem is AB is too quick. He's too fast. He's able to get on top of it, and both of them in a chase mode from that standpoint. So they just hit him with a play, and you knew that with the weapons that they had, they were going to get some yardage. Where the Saints, had to play, or at least try to play, was good defense in the red zone. And, for the most part, yes, you did do that, but, a lot to clean up. You played a really, really good team. So, I mean, you can feel good about yourselves. You're able to sack the quarterback. You should have came up with 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
Eli
right.
and Marshawn will tell you, both of them, they got the hands on the ball. You come up with picks there, and then you force 2 more fumbles. Man, that's strong.
Look, they come in, they get the win. At some point, a good team like that is going to respond. The last 3 weeks, you win low-scoring games. I felt coming into this game that they needed to score points to win this game. 31 points did it. I mean, what did you think? I think it was going to be a little bit more of a shootout as opposed to the last few weeks was defensive struggles.
We figured that they would get somewhere in the 30s, and Pittsburgh would be high 20s, mid 20s. Felt right there where we thought it would be. The only question was who would make the play. Would it be offensively or defensively coming up with a game-changing play? And it was the defense that made the play.
All right, Deuce, so one of your records fell today. I don't know if the other one's going to fall next week, but Mark Ingram gets his breaks your record for most touchdowns in a Saints uniform. I know you're happy for him.
Happy, excited, you're proud for him, the hard work that he's been able to put in. And look, records are made to be broken. And so I had it for a little while, and Mark is able to get it. And, we'll see how long he keeps it because Alvin is chopping at the bits for him. But, I'm happy for Mark. I'm really happy for him.
And last question. They got the job done. They get the 1 seed. They don't have to travel. If they travel again, that's a great travel because they're going to Atlanta for the Super Bowl.
The road to the Super Bowl goes to New Orleans. You gotta think the black and gold are favorites from here on out.
I know you don't want to go too far with it, but I mean,
you got to get healthy. I mean, that offensive line is beat up. You know, Armstead, man, you got to see if he can come back and help you. You know, hopefully he's not down too long. I'm hoping that it was only scar tissue, and then he just didn't have the strength coming back. It looks like Bushrod will have about 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get that hamstring going. Andres Pete, you know, playing guard, left tackle, right tackle. You know, Ramczyk will have an opportunity to get well. So these quote-unquote mini buys that you're going to get, at least you know you get 1 week, possibly 2. Try to get healthy.
Yeah, a lot of guys will probably, Peyton would commit to it, but he'll probably get some rest next week here. They play the Panthers for the season finale. Deuce, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Want to remind you of Deuce McAllister's Monday morning schedule, the 8 a.m. Black and Gold Rewind. Then in the afternoon is 5 p.m. 2-minute drill. At 10:35, the all-encompassing Black and Gold Review Show at 10:35. Much more Saints to get to here on the Final Play tonight, including our catch of the week. And some of the best and most important plays in today's game came from the Saints defense. Chris Hagan will break down the Saints' opportunistic unit when the Final Play continues. In the meantime, there's always more Saints on our new and improved Final Play app. If you already have it, go to your app store and check for the update. From there, you can check out videos, blogs, and use the Final Word feature to get in touch with us.
You're watching The Final Play.
We couldn't help ourselves with today's catch of the week. It's a daily double. 2 big catches for the Saints. First, on 3rd and 20, Drew Brees finds Ted Ginn Jr., gets open, gets the first down. And that would eventually lead to this, our second catch of the week from Michael Thomas, just breaking the play of the goal line for the game-winning score. A double dose of catches of the week from the Black and Gold. And it's time to break out your camera and chopper style. Chop, chop, chopper style. We want to see you do your best chopper style, either solo or get your friends involved. Chop it out and send it to us at pix@fox8live.com. That's PIX@fox8live.com. We could use it on many of our Saints-related shows going forward on into the playoffs. Back to today's game, though. The final outcome may not happen if the Saints defense doesn't find a way to make another big play. Chris Hagan has more on these opportunistic Saints.
It was a forgettable third quarter that turned into a game-changing, home field advantage securing fourth. After being shredded by the Steelers to start the second half, the Saints defense not only shut them out in the final 15 minutes, but forced some huge turnovers in the process, starting with a Stephen Ridley fumble in Saints territory that kept Pittsburgh from extending their lead.
It's not just accident. That's just not coincidence, you know. And when you don't get them, it's not an accident either. So I think it's a credit to the coaches and the players for hustling.
You'll watch tape, you'll see how certain guys carry the ball. So that way you know, if you have to come, up under to punch the ball out, if you got to go over the top, you got to rip it out. It's something we work on. It's something that, we pay a great attention to.
Sheldon Rankins is apparently a master at it, managing to pry the ball loose from Juju Smith-Schuster in the final minute of the game and help secure the win. The third-year defensive tackle who dropped into pass coverage says he still can't believe he made the play.
When I wrapped him up and made the tackle, still felt he was just sitting on top of me. My reaction was to just kind of punch because I felt my hand kind of, near where the ball was. So punched through, and then, I felt the ball come out. And at that point, I'm just praying one of our guys gets it.
It was what you'd expect in a tight fourth quarter from a playoff caliber defense in what felt like a playoff game already. And especially when they're causing those turnovers in this building, it feels like the Saints are impossible to beat. Reporting at the Superdome, I'm Chris Hagan for the Final Play.
Up next, an off-the-field incident has marred LSU's bowl preparations. We'll have an update, and we'll recap a busy yet successful early signing day period for our local schools. And in the meantime, we bring you the Final Play Fan Cam. To submit your passionate pictures, send an email to PIX, that's PIX, @fox8live.com.
The Final Play Fan Cam is sponsored by Nissan. You're watching watching The Final Play.
By now, you've probably already heard about or read about the 2 LSU football players that have been questioned and released in connection with a fatal shooting in Baton Rouge. Investigators say they found the victim in the backseat of a truck in Scotlandville just after noon on Saturday. The athletes questioned were running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire and linebacker Jared Small. Investigators have not confirmed what role the athletes may have had in this incident.
You hate to see anyone hurt, injured, killed, sad at any time of the year. This has got to be difficult on everybody involved. I don't care which side of this you're on or what family you are. This has to affect you. It's going to affect them, and it affects this community, these people that are here.
LSU Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics Joe Alleva issued a statement Saturday saying the school has, quote, been in constant contact with law enforcement regarding this terrible situation, unquote. His statement goes on with, right now, our concern is for the safety and well-being of our student athletes. They have been involved in a traumatic incident, and we have made our counselors available to assist immediately. Meanwhile, the rich got richer last Wednesday with the opening of early signing period, particularly the LSU Tigers, who put a blanket on the state's best players. Garland Gillen takes a look back.
LSU performed on the field in 2018, racking up 9 wins and delivered off the field as well. Coach Orgeron's latest recruiting class sits at number 4 after the early signing period ended.
Last year we had so many holes to fill. And I just looked at the position, and I looked at the player, and I said, you know what, can that player get us better? There were so many holes to fill on the line. We had to get graduate transfers, get a new kicker, get a new quarterback. Now it wasn't necessarily, do I just take a player that makes us better? Let me get the best player there, and that's what we went after.
The class includes 3 5-star recruits and offensive lineman Cardell Thomas, cornerback Derek Stingley Jr., and running back John Emery Jr.
Everybody knows LSU is the place to come, and me being a big-name guy in the recruiting thing, being a 5-star #1 guard and all that, a lot of people are like, well, he's sticking there when he go anywhere. So my thing was to push LSU up, talk them up the right way, and be real to recruits and just let them know you come here, you got to be a dog, and you're going to play if you're a dog.
It shows that Louisiana, we got some good talent, and as long as we stay in town and go to LSU, then we can have some big things coming. If you're from this area, you get a chance to play in front of friends and family. You make a play, and you just so happen to look in the stands, and you might be able to see somebody you know. And, like, that's just a good feeling whenever you can do that.
With the departure of Nick Brissett in the Tiger backfield, Emery could see playing time right away for the purple and gold. In 2019, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Curry, Tay Province, and Leonard Fournette will be fighting for time along with Emery. Emery wants to win and get some hardware also.
It's known as RBU, so I'm about to, I just want to fill in a big spot, and I just want, my goal is to really just be great at LSU, win Heisman, graduate, master's degree. I just have, plans. And, the thing about me, I'm never satisfied. And like I said, I'm trying to make it to the top.
Covering recruiting, Garland Gillen, Fox 8 Local First.
As early signing period got underway, Tulane head coach Willie Fritz said his team needed to find a starting safety, and he thinks he did just that with the addition of Zachary's Tyler Judson. Judson was one of the Greenies' biggest gets. The team signed 17 players overall and have 4 more expected to sign, with a couple of them being graduate transfers. 4 of the new Greenies are from Louisiana, 3 of them from the greater metro area. Another one of Fritz's must-haves, players that look the part of a Division I prospect.
Well, whatever you're running, you want, big, strong, fast, football smart guys. But there might be a little, hey, we need a little more of this than this because of what we're doing personnel-wise.
Me and my dad watching the game the whole time, I was just watching the game, I was just had a big smile. I know Coach Fritz had a big smile. I was with Justin McMillan. We just was talking about how he can't wait for me to get up there, and Amari Jones can't wait for me to get up there so it could be a duo, return, help Tulane more, with more athletes that we coming in for 2019.
Down the road in Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns celebrated the signing of 19 players, 13 of which are from Louisiana. One of them, Rummel quarterback Chandler Fields. Fields was one of 3 metro area kids to sign with the Raging Cajuns, and the former Rummel Raider said he's ready for what comes next.
Well, I'm really excited to be a Raging Cajun, but first and foremost, I'd like to thank the guys that were here today for me, Rommel. They supported me all along, all the way through. So, I mean, I couldn't have done without my family, the Raider brothers and Coach Roth, and the whole entire staff here at Rommel. So it's time to move on to the next chapter, and I'm just happy to be a Cajun.
Over in Hammond, it was a solid signing class for the Southeastern Lions with 23 players picked up, 19 from the Pelican State, 9 from New Orleans Metro, including a pair of linebackers in East Jeff's Darius Harris and Destrehan's Alex Hooser. Hooser's teammate, Dontrell Smith, also signed with the Lions. And for the second straight early signing period, Nicholls State inked a small class, only 4 players, 3 of which are from Louisiana. Defensive back Derek Monson, prepped at Rummel. Tight end Levon Williams is from Curtis. The Colonels did not need a large class, even though they graduated 27 seniors from this year's playoff team, because they returned 9 of the 15 All-Southland selections and 2 honorable mentions. Up next, the roller coaster season that is your New Orleans Pelicans season. We'll catch up with them in Sacramento when the final play continues.
The final play.
The NBA's trade deadline is February 7th. 8 days after that is the beginning of All-Star Weekend, which signifies the halfway point of the regular season, even though it really isn't. The Pelicans will have played 59 games by then, and hopefully their current run of form will have become very old news. Because they went into Sacramento today on a 3-game losing streak, but looking like they were going to snap it in the third quarter when this Julius Randle finish gave them a 12-point lead. But a former Pelican got the Kings back into it. Buddy Hield with the 3-pointer and the foul. The Kings never looked back, winning 122-117. The Pels will wrap up their road trip in Dallas on Wednesday. Then they'll face those same Mavericks in the Smoothie King Center on Friday, which will tip off a 3-game homestand with visits from both the Rockets and T-Wolves to follow. They'll begin the new year in Brooklyn, January 2nd, against the Nets. And that's our show for tonight. For all of us here at Fox 8, I'm Juan Kincaid. Fox's NFL Game Day Prime is coming up next, and we hope you'll join us again next Sunday night for the final play.
From Fox 8 Sports, this has been The Final Play.